Hello everyone, good day, good afternoon, good morning, you guys watching. Today I want to show you how to load data into Power BI and how to transform the data. But before we do that, I just want to show you very quick how our data look like. So this Excel sheet here was brought in from Kobo Toolbox, and it's these are questions that are designed, sent out, and the respondents put in their information, and then it was brought to Excel sheet. Okay, so this is the Excel sheet here. For instance, the first question, this question here says cultivate okongombong. So it was asking a question, how many people do cultivate okongombong? So some people said no, some people said not applicable, some people said yes. So it follows suit with every other question. Okay, this is the first thing I want you to take note. Okay, so it's a very long questionnaire. If I go back to my browser here, you see this is the question here. Okay, so this one has already been deployed and sent, so people are already submitting. So these are the questions here, you see. So these are the groups. So on this group, you see identification section. It introduces you to these identification sections, and then also the next group, crop cultivation. It introduces you this section concerns home gardening. So here we use the not option when you are designing your questions, just introducing you to the other questions. Okay, so this is just how our question looks. So this was removed from the Kobo Toolbox and brought into this sheet that we see here. Okay, so the next thing I want you to take note of is that this sheet has been divided into two. So we came to this sheet, or I came to this sheet, and then I selected two options that I wanted to analyze based on this video or on this course that I'm teaching right now. So we came here and then we selected this section concerns gardening, home gardening. So we came here and we selected home gardening on here. So if I click here, it takes us to this sheet. So we went to that bulk of questionnaires, and then we selected only ones that concerns home gardening, and we brought it here. The second thing we did was that we went there again and selected ones that concerns vegetables. Okay, this is it, and we also brought it into our Excel sheet. Okay, we did this to make our analysis simple, and so that we can be able to see or to visit each time we have some challenges, we can go back to our data and check it. For instance, if we come here in this bulk of data here, okay, in this bulk of data, see how long it is in this bulk of data, and we put all this in our Excel sheet without separating in different tables like this, like vegetable and home gardening, specifying those tables is going to be difficult when we start analyzing to go back and check and see what is happening. Also, the next thing I want you to take note of is that if you look at these two tables, garden and vegetables, they all have something that is unique. Okay, this one talks about gardening, this other one talks about vegetables. Okay, but there is one thing that is equal in both tables, which we are going to be using that to create relationships when we put it in our Power BI. This column here that talks of subdivision and where when you were displaced from your village and the days and status of IDP, we have this same column under our vegetables option, or under our home gardening option. Are you getting now? Yes, they are both the same because we are going to be using these three tables or one of them to connect to the other one in order to start doing analysis. When we get to our Power BI, we are going to explain that even better to you. Let's move on now and load this in our Power BI. So to load this in our Power BI is simple. We should first of all recognize the name of this sheet is Power BI 2. The name of the sheet is Power BI 2. So we just go to our Power BI right here, and then we go to get data, which is very popular. We can either go here, or we go directly to this Excel sheet because we are dealing with Excel, or we can either go here, but I prefer to go right here. So if we click here, all this other option comes up and we click Excel sheet because we want to upload from Excel, and our Excel sheet here is on our desktop. So we go to our desktop and we choose Power BI 2, and then we click open, and we give it some time to load. Now when it finished loading, this is what we get. You see, amazingly, now these are the three different sheets, our Excel sheets. Okay, so this sheet have been transformed here as tables. So remember, we had this one which is a bulk of the whole questionnaire, and we had this home gardening which is part of the questionnaire, and we had this vegetable which is part of the questionnaire. And remember that we want to do analysis just with home gardening and vegetables. Okay, so we have chosen both both options, because these are the two options that we want to analyze. So now, because we want to transforming means we want to adjust some certain things in this data before we complete the upload into Power BI. Or if we could decide to load, but we cannot load because there are some things I want to do with this data. Okay, so we'll now come here to this option, and then we click, after we have selected the tables that we are interested in, and then we click transform. So it now begins to transform. Now, when it transforms, it brings us here to Power Query. Okay, so we are going to be doing our transformation right now. But the first thing I want you to take note of is that here we have both tables. We have the home gardening here. So if I click at the home gardening, I see all the tables. You see, I see all the columns here, you see. And when I come here and I click at vegetable, I see all the columns here. So there's something I want us to do. If I go right back here, especially with home gardening, there is something I'm seeing here that I don't want. Okay, you see that there are other columns, empty columns, that are not useful. So I just want us to go here. The first thing I want us to take note of is the data type. Here we have numbers, because it's dealing with years. Okay, so here we have ABC dealing with text, because this is text, and here is also is text because it's status. I can come up here and I right click, and I come to change type, data type, and here is whole numbers because it's dealing with years. Okay, so we can come here and do the changes from here. If we were dealing with dates, we can come here and choose dates. Okay, this is important because if you don't get it right here, it will not be able to analyze your data in Kobo Toolbox. I mean in Power BI, sorry. So right here, if I come to this table home gardening and I come to choose columns, you see this option, choose columns, and I come here. I want to choose the columns that I want to analyze. Okay, and I click. You see, it gives me all these columns. You see that we have a lot of columns that are not useful here. I'll just unselect this, all of them, and I choose subdivision, choose this one, choose this one, choose this one, choose this one. You see? So right now we are transforming our data. So you see, these are the columns that I want to analyze, and I click OK. Automatically, you see what Power BI does. It now chooses those that I want to analyze. After we have selected columns from home gardening, we go to vegetables, and then we also go here and we look at the columns for for vegetables. We also check and see if our data column, if our data type is okay. This one is text because it's yes on ABC. This one also is correct. So we also go up here and we choose columns. Okay, we go and choose columns, and then this one is okay. Everything is fine here, so we don't need to unselect or select anything. We just click OK. So it's fine, you see. So it's very fine. So here we are getting some under this constants. Okay, good. Right here we have this column that we don't want to use. This column was just to introduce the next section, so we don't want this column. So all what we need is we right click here, and then we click remove. You see, it has removed that column for us. We also have this kind of column in our home gardening. So we just go, this is it here. You can see for yourself, it's just no value. It was just introducing the next space during when we're creating this in Kobo Toolbox. And then here we have already transformed. Right now we are done with that transformation. So all we need to do is we come up here and we click. Remember that as you transform, it gives you the different steps that you transform on this side of your Power BI. You see here, it gives you so if I click this, it goes back to where it were. Okay, so right now I'll just come here after finish transformation. I'll just come here and I click apply, close and apply. You see, close and apply. You see here, it's loading the data into our Power BI. Immediately you click close and apply, it begins to load the data gradually into Power BI. So we are going to give it some time to load. Okay, when it loads, and then we start analyzing. So after we have loaded our data into Power BI, this is what we have to do. Here we are on our report model. Here we are on our data model. If we click here, you see that we are going to see all our tables. All our tables are right here. If I click this first table here, you see that it shows me, you see, it shows me this table. If I click this other one, it shows me this is another area where you can still view your tables. Here you can add new measure, you can add quick measure, you can add new column, you can add new tables. This is going to be discussed in other videos when we are analyzing money, especially money, and also when we are analyzing numbers. And then here now is relationships. Okay, so in relationships here is important. You see these two tables are separate. Okay, so relationships here simply means that we are trying to join these two tables such that each time we want to take something from here, we can still refer to this other table. Each time we want to take something from here, we can refer to this other table. And remember, we looked at the columns that are worth creating relationship with. So here we have the subdivision. We have subdivision here. We also have I think we also have sorry. Okay, here we have status, and here we also have status. So the easiest way to create relationship from this table to this table is to use this status. So if I take this status and I drag it on this other status here, it automatically create relationship for me. Relationships are very important. Relationship, like I said, helps us to analyze the data easily. I'm referring each table with the other. So right here now, we have chosen the status option, which is something that is worth using to create relations. So if you look at all my columns here, this is the first table here, vegetable, this is another table here, home gardening. So here we have indicated to Power BI that we want to create relationship with status and status, you see. So it's now asking us make this relationship active. So we are going to come here and just click OK. You see, when we click OK, you see it already highlights. So it's highlighting. It's already acting on that command, you see. So now we have many to many relationship. You see it here. Okay, this is the relationship. We have now created relationship with these two tables. Like I earlier said, you need to use a table that is equal, or a column that is equal with the other column of the other table to create relationships. This is very important for you to take note with Power BI. So now we are set to start doing our visuals. So we go back to our report view there. So right now, to begin to visualize, you see that separating items or data from that huge bunch of data in Excel and dividing it in smaller tables is worth doing, because right now you see, now I can easily come under home gardening and I see the options for home gardening. Now I can easily come under vegetables and I see the options for vegetables. This allows me now to begin to analyze my data without any stress. So let's say we want to analyze this first question here, and we click. Okay, but usually before we click, we have to click a visual. Okay, I just want to click this visual. This visual here is a bar chart. So I'll click a bar chart. So you see, I have clicked a bar chart. So one thing I want you to take note here, right here, is that this is the question we have clicked. So this question is only found in the y-axis of our bar chart. Okay, so we also want this question to come to the y-axis here. The same question, we bring it to the y-axis. That is when it will begin to make sense. You see, let me bring it at the middle. You see, this is when it begins to make sense. So now this visual is telling us that those who said yes had a greater option here, and those who said no had a greater option here. So now it says, have you engaged in home gardening since you relocated to this area of Bamenda? That is the question that was asked. So some people said yes, some people said no. So this is the percentage or the amount of those who said no. So you see that from this visual, it's already giving you more people who said yes and less people who said no. So if we take this very question again, I will bring it under legend here. This is something you must take note. Bring it under legend. So here we are just teaching you how to analyze questionnaires after you have collected, okay, with Power BI. So right here, you see that have you engaged in home gardening since you relocated to Bamenda, you see. So it gives you the legend. So right now you see the legend up here. The one thing I want you to take note of Power BI is this. If I click inside this visual like this, one thing I want you to take very quick note of is that while I am still click here and I came here and I come under visual, this y-axis here, if I put it off, you see, this yes and no here goes off. You see, if I put it on, this option of yes and no comes on here. If I come to this x-axis and I do same and I put it off, these grid lines that you see, small grid lines you see here, they are going to go off. As we see, they have gone off. Okay, so this is how we do to clean our data. If I also come to this y-axis, under this y-axis here, there is something we have that I want to show you. I have just clicked there. You see that we have a title. Okay, this is the title we have on this side. So I'm going to off this title by just coming here and clicking this title off. Many times we do this to make our data clean. Okay, and then if I go up again to this y-axis and I drop it up and I go under x-axis, it also has a title. Okay, and I off it. You see, so this title here is going to go off. You see now, so we are now cleaning our visual. So this is what you do to clean your visual and make sense out of it. So if I also go to our legend here, our legend here has a title. If I can go there and I off it as well, this is going to go off. You see here now. You see, so our legend is off. And then one thing I also want you to take very quick note of is the fact that if we go to general here, and then while we are still click inside this visual here, we can still come to general here, and then now we have the title. Now we have the title here, which is the whole of this. So if we come and off this title, put it off, you see, we off the whole of this title. We can still put it on. Many times when I analyze data using this, especially from questionnaires that comes in from national and international NGOs, what I do is I come here and I choose a short, I choose a short statement here, a short title. For instance, have you engaged in home gardening since you relocated to Bamenda? And you have a very long repeated here because we had to put it under y-axis, under legend, and also under x-axis. That's why you have all these other names here. But if I come here and I click in here and I click Control A and then I just click delete or backspace, you see I delete it all. Now I can put any short title I want. I can just put home gardening for just to show you example. So you see I have put home gardening. So it has appeared here. You see, it has appeared here as home gardening. Okay, I can decide to come and then I change bold the text. You can decide to see I bold it from here. So this is just how you go about your Power BI. There's a lot of opportunities using Power BI. I can come back to visuals, okay, and I decide to put my labels on, my data labels on. These data labels here indicates on here, telling you specifically how many people said yes and how many people said no. And you see that is small. You have 42 yes and 9 no. So if I come under data labels here, it gives me option to make that bigger. Okay, I can just come here under data labels here. I can come under values here. Okay, and then you see, and I increase the values. You see. So right now you see how we have succeeded in expanding the name, I mean the text of the data label right here, making it big from here. So this is just how you can go about your Power BI, and it's just amazing tool to use. Thank you all very much, and stay blessed. We'll be coming with so much concerning Power BI. We are going to be analyzing a lot of data, different data from companies, from organizations. Every sector can use Power BI. Stay blessed and keep watching our YouTube channel. Please make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you click the subscribe button. Stay blessed.